You're listening to the Business Brain Food Podcast. This is episode 136.
Welcome to the podcast that gives you direct access to the world's leading business building experts. Head to MaxMyProfit.com.au to catch up on past episodes, download your free business growth tools, and access show notes for every single episode. Now here's your host, Ben Futrell.
G'day and welcome back to the Business Brain Food Podcast. This, my friend, is the podcast that's 100% devoted to taking you and your business to the next level. And the good news is, doesn't matter whether you're brand new to this business thing, maybe you're just kicking off that entrepreneurial idea and scratching your little entrepreneurial itch, or maybe you're like myself and you've been in business for a long, long time. There's always something new we can do to take our business to the next level, and today is no different. If you're new to the show, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you go back and listen to the previous 135 episodes because I've had some amazing guests on here with some amazing insights, and they will help you take your business to the next level. If you're a regular listener and you tune in every week, welcome back. I'm so appreciative that you're back again this week. Love doing the show. Love that you tune in each week, and you are going to love today's guest. Now, before I do get stuck into today's interview, before I do that, I wanted to remind you that if you haven't already, jump on Facebook, go to facebook.com/groups Business Brain Food, and join us in the Business Brain Food group. We've got a private community there of all the listeners and myself, along with a bunch of business owners that can, good conversation going on, answering questions, solving challenges, and just sharing ideas. Very inspirational, lots of entrepreneurial stuff going on in there. So Business Brain Food, the group on Facebook. We have a Facebook page. Make sure you find the group and ask to join the group, and one of the admin team will let you in. And right now you're missing out on the conversation. So jump into that group, come and join us, come and share a bit about who you do, what you do with the world, and just hang out with us in there. It's a great place to be. Alrighty, another quick little plug before I do get stuck into the interview. Also, if you are looking to take your business to the next level and you're wondering about how to do that, I still have a couple of fast track events coming up. My business fast track seminar that I've been running along the east coast of Australia. Today, I was in Melbourne, so you probably missed that one this morning. Newcastle tomorrow at 9 a.m. So if you're going to be in the Newcastle area, I'm in the Newcastle Exhibition and Convention Centre. That's Newcastle in New South Wales in Australia. So make sure you jump into that one. And I'll be in Sydney for 11:30 a.m. session on the 14th of June. So if you're around in Sydney and you want to take your business to the next level, then you could do that. We also have VIP upgrades there where you can come for the entire day, have some amazing speakers lined up. And, we already have over 100 people registered for that. It's going to be an exciting day, and we'd love to have you there. It's the 14th of June for the Business Acceleration Conference, which is the full day of the VIP upgrade. Now, the place to go if you want to find out more about these events, see if they're for you, and claim a ticket is businessfasttrack.com.au. That's businessfasttrack.com.au. And head across there. You can read all about the events, a quick video from me there explaining what it is that we're going to be covering, and then you can pick a venue and time that suits you best. If you want to come and see me live, I'd love to meet you. Come along and say g'day. All right, let's get stuck straight into today's show. Today, I've got a fellow called Tony Grebmeier coming on the show. Now, Tony's absolutely fantastic guest to have on, because I know as entrepreneurs, sometimes we see people that are super successful, built great big businesses, and wonder how they've done it. Well, Tony's done it. He's got a business that does 8 figures. It's in the Inc. 5000, top 5,000 businesses, and he reckons he's going to get into the top 500 pretty shortly, which is pretty amazing stuff. But it hasn't been without its challenges. Like most entrepreneurs, he's had his ups and downs. It's interesting listening to his story. And whilst he's most well known for building his multi-million-dollar business, with his he's done this with his childhood friends. He has his own mission in life to build a community where struggling entrepreneurs know they can achieve anything they want despite their past. Now, he does this because his past has been quite interesting. He's always known how to make money, but he started his first business as the neighbourhood baseball card trading post out of his mum's garage at the age of 14. By the time he was 18, he'd held 16 jobs and was only fired once, and that was for giving his brother an ice cream cone. In 1996, he launched his first online business in Silicone Valley, which is a web traffic and marketing company, which eventually turned into his first supplement company in 2001. He went to build his second supplement company, Ship Offers, which two of his childhood best friends, Doug Roberts and Gil Gerstein. 15 years later, Ship Offers is an 8-figure business that has been in the Inc. 5000 company for the past 3 years in a row. Like most entrepreneurs, his journey wasn't easy. He almost lost it all in 2008 after years of struggling with a drug and alcohol addiction, facing the near destruction of his marriage and the sad realisation that he was negatively affecting his children's lives. But he made the decision that year to get sober, and he stayed sober ever since. As he got clean, he also became clear about his vision to help others find their passion and achieve more. So with all this in mind, he launched his podcast. He's got a podcast called Entrepreneur Unplugged, which you can go and check out, which is pretty awesome, bringing together his love for business, radio, and life each week. He used to be a radio host, so that's where that comes from. You'll hear that in his voice as we interview him. That podcast is an amazing podcast you can also listen to. So as a podcast listener, I suggest you do that. Without any further delay, though, let's just get Tony onto the Business Brain podcast so you can hear from the man himself, the story that he's been through. And, the good thing about Tony, he said to me, ask me anything, Ben. Ask me anything. Don't be afraid. There's no no-go zones. So that's what we did.
Learn more to earn more.
I am super excited to have Tony G on the show today. G'day, Tony, and welcome to the Business Brain podcast.
Hey, thank you so much, Ben. Great to be here.
Great stuff. Now, before I hit record, you told me all your friends call you Tony G, so I thought I'll just straight up be your friend. How's that?
I love it.
Awesome. Now, which makes the next question even easier, because I ask every single guest this same question, and you're not going to escape this question, and that is for you to share something quirky about yourself.
It's time for something quirky.
I didn't talk until I was 4 years old.
You didn't talk until you were 4. What happened there?
And my parents were all confused. They didn't know what was going on. I said 4 words, a duh, a do, a carrick. And my mom and my dad were like, what's the 4th word? They figured it out. It was And then by 4 years old, they couldn't get me to shut up.
Sounds like it's all changed now. And you've got kids yourself, haven't you?
I do. I have 2 boys. I have a 16 and an 18-year-old.
Yeah, okay. And so what would you have done if they didn't talk to their 4? Would you have been worried?
Not knowing where I came from and all the stuff that my parents were so worried. My mom was a speech therapist and a special ed teacher. And so she knew that it was kind of not necessarily normal, but it wasn't anything that was abnormal. So I made up for it. Trust me, I got into plenty of trouble before I was even 4 years old in other areas. So my parents said, this kid's going to be fine. Just give him some time. And then, like I said, they've never been able to shut me up since. So it's been great for both of us.
Great stuff. Now, we can talk about that, but I don't want to talk about that. What I want to talk about, and I know the listeners want to hear about, is your entrepreneurial journey, because, you started out by building a pretty impressive business with some of your childhood friends. Maybe take us way back when and tell us a bit about when you realised you had that entrepreneurial flair to start building a business.
No, I love it. If I needed something growing up, my parents weren't giving me a handout for money. So I had to figure out how to go make cash. I'm going to date myself, but if it was working at, the Goodwill, the VCR repair shop, if it was cleaning gutters, if it was, putting shrubs in garbage bales, and if it was asking neighbors if I could take stuff to the flea market and sell it, I just knew early on that money came from work, and I had to figure out ways to make money because I wanted to go do things that all my friends couldn't do. And so I think I had 14 jobs by the time I was 18. I got one real job. It was great. I was working at Domino's Pizza. I got a job. I was about a week into it, and I got into a crash in my parking lot. And I had no more wheels to deliver pizza. And I said, well, man, I need the job because I need the money because I got to fix my car. And they said, what can you do? I said, you want me to go get some people to buy pizzas? Put me on the street corner. So I was one of those guys. I was born in the 70s. So you're talking, 1989. I'm the guy sitting on the street corner saying, come and get your pizza. Come and get your pizza. So, I just knew early on that work and effort and hustle and drive was something that I had inside me. I remember around that time, starting a baseball card collecting business where I was buying and selling baseball cards. I used to sell them out of my garage on weekends. It didn't matter what it was. If I needed money, I found a way to get it. And I was always quick to sell out anything that I was doing. So my friend said, you kind of know the entrepreneur world, but you got the spirit for a sales guy. And so I took both of those loves and married them into a career. And I'm in year 16 with a couple of those childhood friends that I did some business with when I was younger, painting fences, whatever it took to make money. And I realized that, I had to get out there and meet and shake hands and really introduce myself to the world. And so I also knew early on that you couldn't sit back and wait for the door to ring. You had to go out and ring doors.
Yeah, which is interesting. Hey, I'm also always interested to hear, Tony, from people that start off quite young. Were there things that you sacrificed that today you regret sacrificing to go down that entrepreneurial path?
I don't really think so. I was able early on. My mom was fortunate enough to teach with another person, and they introduced me to the world of water polo. So I was a 3-time All-American in water polo. So at a high level, I got to travel the world early on. I got to Russia, Finland, Sweden, Denmark. I came to Colorado where I live now, but when I was a young kid to train at the Olympic Training Center, I had a normal childhood. I really got a chance to see the world. I didn't feel like there was something missing because I sacrificed. I also knew how to ask for what I wanted. And that's something that I coach and teach people today, is to ask for what you want. And so, no, I had an incredible upbringing. I had loving parents, I had a great sister and an adopted brother. So I don't feel like I missed out on anything. I think if anything, man, I got my eyes wide open to realize that I want to see the world. And that's really what my love for today is traveling with my family and doing things like that.
Yeah, great stuff. Now, you mentioned also that, one of the things that your mate said you were good at was sales. How important do you think being great at sales is to building a successful business?
I think the most important thing around sales is communication and being transparent and really helping people to go down and almost tell a great story to help them understand what that story could look like for them in their life. And so what I really do is I take people on a journey, because at any time during the process, really what they need to know is the buyer needs to know that they can see themselves in that role or that position or with that product or service and feel 100% comfortable about making that sale or purchase today without any buyer remorse. I've sold hundreds of millions of dollars in services and products over the years. And the one thing that's consistent is I build relationships before I try to sell you anything.
Yeah, which is really important. So would you say that a business owner, if they're going to build a serious business, they need to have that skill? Or can business owners hire people that have those skills?
Oh, I think you can hire people. We just all kind of, when we started, we were in our 20s. And we all kind of said, what are you good at? And my one business partner had just graduated with his MBA, so we knew he was going to be in charge of the money. My other business partner had just left a design firm and designed the very first website for Toy Story, so the movie Toy Story. And he also had worked at Mattel designing Hot Wheels. So we knew he was capable of designing products and brochures and marketing credentials, whatever we needed to do, the sales part of it. And then I came from radio. And so I had been a radio air personality and had a background as an entrepreneur. And so I was the guy out making phone calls, talking to people, going to events and shows. So we all had specific dynamic skills, and we just married those together. It wasn't until about year 10 that we actually started building a sales organization. So I was the sales guy for 10 years. Give me a phone, I will travel, tell me where you go, and I'll be there, and I'll make the deal happen. That's been my mentality for most of my adult life, but that goes back to my childhood, So I think it's something that you have in you. I think you can teach sales. My experience has always been it's either in you or it's not in you, and I just know that I get lit up when I get a chance to be in front of somebody and show them the opportunity.
Yeah, awesome stuff. Now, a lot of people struggle to build a 5-figure business or a 6-figure business, but you've gone and built an 8-figure business. Tell us a bit about that journey. That's the one that your first big business, I guess, that you started with your friends.
Yeah, so I had a little bit of experience prior to this company. I was involved in another company, and during that time, we ventured into what I love to call as my experience around the .com boom. Right. And also the bomb scenario. So around 1999 and 2000, a couple of my business partners in an existing supplement and marketing company, we decided to invest cash into a company. I was partners with like Richard Dreyfuss, the actor, Brian Tochi, another actor, Ted Williams, the baseball player's son, John Henry Williams. And we had this opportunity to invest money into a girl who was 13 years old, and we made her like the CEO of the company, and it was a company called Goosehead. It was programming for young kids, like MTV, Nickelodeon kind of grows up a little bit and has this like web episodes. And so this is 2000, and we're doing great. 2020 features us. Cynthia McFadden comes into our office. We're making, really great headway into hopefully being bought up by either Sony or Warner Brothers. One thing leads to another. We're a part of the .com bomb. All the money that we thought we were going to make was gone. And I'm sitting here looking at my business partner going, I can't afford to do that again. We need to figure out a way to make money and sustainability, because I got young kids. I got to figure this out. And quickly we decided to team up and launch another company. And we were quickly getting started, and we realized we didn't have anybody in the financial world to help us, because I was great at making money and I could spend it, but I didn't know how to manage it. And so luckily we found another childhood best friend graduating from Pepperdine University, and he came on board. And early on, it was just 3 kids. Our biggest affiliate marketing guy was out of Australia. So it's great that I'm getting a chance today to talk to you. But, we were quickly millionaires. Probably in the first 3 years, we had made our first million. We're in our early 20s. Life is great. Everything's awesome. And we ran into those traditional problems with any business. When you're making a lot of money, you're spending it, you don't know really what you're doing. And, we were hiring people. We didn't really know how to manage teams. And you're like, do you want to come to work today? Should I take some time off? Is it too early to retire? So we had all those kinds of questions back and forth. And what has really helped us over 16 years is a core philosophy that exists today in our company. All 3 of the partners, no matter what, have to agree or we just don't do it. That's our philosophy. It's worked really, really well. We're going against the grain because everybody tells, you shouldn't go into business with your best friends. It's not going to work. You're going to lose your friendship. I'm here to tell you, I proved that myth wrong. Works for us. We vetted each other out because I've scraped knees with these guys. I've grown up with them. I used to party in high school with them. So I knew enough about who I was going into business with. Quickly we were, a 7-figure business, and life was great. Everything was good. 2010, 2011, man, we were almost out of business. We were transitioning from California to Colorado. I was making about $1,000 a month. I was pulling money from my 401k to survive. Our business had gone sideways coming out of the 2008 kind of market. We were still feeling the kind of effects of that type of economy. And then all of a sudden, I had gone in 2012 to an event in San Francisco, Traffic and Conversions. It was a marketing conference digital marketer puts on each and every year. And I heard William Shatner up on stage. And William Shatner, in his 80s, standing up on stage talking about a new business he decided to launch called the Brown Bag Wine Club. And he wanted to put a bag of wine in a brown bag and just share it and then kind of, network and talk and kind of figure out what the brand was and is a good flavor, bad flavor, and just talk. And I'm like, if this guy at 80 is having fun doing something silly as that, why aren't we making money? And I got to the edge of my seat and I said, you know what? I need to figure out something to do because our company's great, our model's great, but man, it is not resonating with people. So I quickly walked out of that event, and I had a couple buddies with me. And I turned to my friend Kevin and I said, Kevin, my other business partner, Gil, he just purchased the domain name Ship Offers. And our company at the time, and still is to this day, is I5. And it just didn't resonate. People used to call us all the time and say, can I see the eye doctor? I need some help. And I'm like, sorry, that's not our business. And what happened was one thing changed, and it made the biggest difference. We all bought back in that we had a great business. We just changed our name. That's all we really changed. But then behind the scenes, I realized we changed everything. We changed how we show up, how we were talking to people, how excited we were. So I've dealt with the ups and downs of a business. And now, fast forward several years, we've been on the Inc. 5000 3 consecutive years in a row. We're anticipating breaking into the top 500 this year. And now it's networking, it's team building, it's structuring organizations, it's having 30 some odd people underneath us. But we actually have done something different. And instead of putting people below us, we put people above us. We want to build people up. We want to help people get to the next level. So on our org chart, we're at the bottom. Completely flip the mentality of how you look at a business. So if I can help the person directly above me, help the person directly above them, we're all kind of eventually going to win together because we're all going to pull each other up. And so we've changed our mentality and our philosophy. And I travel the world to, enjoy the sights of the world, but also to meet people. And one of the things that I will never do is give up being in front of people. And so my business partners all know the way that we get to success in our company is still doing the same things we did early on, making phone calls, getting to conferences, networking. We're not to the place where we're going to say, oh, let somebody else do that. We want to do that. And that's what's helped our business is we didn't let success go to our heads. We actually have taken it, and it's pushed us to keep working hard. Part of my story and my share is that during the middle of this whole road, I came into some serious drug and alcohol addiction that almost took me out, almost caused me to commit suicide, almost destroyed who I was, my family, and my business. And from it, kind of rebuilding who I am as a human being and changing my thinking and my mindset, we've been able to rebuild the entity, which is my family, my friendship with my business partners. We've been able to focus on the growth and really work at it every single day. There's no days off. You know, you're working on Saturday and Sunday on something. I'm always thinking about what I love, which is my business, and how do we make it better? And it all comes back to building relationships. The same question you asked me, Ben, about sales and marketing. It all comes back to building really amazing, transparent, authentic, real relationships.
Yeah. Now, I'm hearing a common thread in a lot of what you said about building a business. You've gone and you've found people who, have skills in areas that you don't, and you've gone and partnered with them. Would you say that's a big part of your success?
Yeah. I mean, you got to find, I spent over $100,000 last year in coaching and mentoring. It's been said that Tiger Woods, has at his height of his career, he had 5 coaches, right? You got to find people to help you where you're not good at stuff, right? So I know, maybe I'm not the best guy to ask for financial questions. So I don't tell you pricing around sales anymore, but I can still close $1 million deals. So I have guys that are in between me that set me up. They edify me. They get the client or ideal ready, and then I can come in and close the deal. Right. So it's specifics. You got to find the right people to help you so that you can't be everything. I can't take the trash out, close the doors, sell. I can't be the person doing it all anymore. So that's why today, our success has really come in teams. And we did it 2 days ago in front of everybody. We showed everybody our organization. An entire year ago in a month of May, we shipped 80,000 packages. That's a lot for any business. 80,000 units leave our facility, and we did it with 13 people. Fast forward till today, well into 31, 32 people, and we're on pace this month to do just under 200,000 shipments. That's growth, right? How do you do that? You build teams, you get people to buy into your philosophy, your methodology, you show them the way, and you get out of the way so you let them learn how to do it. Instead of me holding their hand, they can teach me now how to run the business.
And you mentioned earlier that in the early days you didn't know how to run teams and how to probably recruit and lead those people. What are some of the key learnings you've had about building and running a team?
Man, I fail miserably all the time at it because I want to rub elbows with the team, right? I don't want to be above anybody. So I think the benefit to our success has been, I'm side by side, step by step in the trenches with you. So what I tell every new hire that I work with personally, come sit on my hip. Let's go learn together. So many people, want to duplicate the model. You can't duplicate. I'm not a great teacher in all areas, but when it comes to helping people build up their kind of self-worth and how they feel, I show every single person who comes on board who I personally have a hand in hiring that I'm a stepping stone for where you want to go in life, right? So I don't have an ego around oh, I'm better than you. I'm right with you. We're going to do things together. We're going to learn. We're going to win. We're going to fail. But the one thing that's going to be common is I'm going to be there right with you, step by step, side by side. We're going to get you to where you want to go. So the way I've been able to build my teams, the teams that I'm in control of, is real authentic, real, roll up your sleeves, get dirty, talk, about the tough stuff and figure out the obstacles that are in front, but also help people. This is a key. Most people don't talk about this stuff. When I coach and I work with my team, I'm asking them specific questions that are not related to the business. I'm asking them questions like, how's your home life? How are things going today? Everything all right? Family good? So I've mixed in knowing that I know what personal development looks like. I know what the right thinking mindset looks like. And you got to help people show up because people have life issues. When you're at work, you still see people trying to escape work. They may be on Facebook, Twitter, whatever it is, to escape kind of their life because there's some uncertainty in it. They're waiting till Friday in 2 weeks to get paid so they can go spend it all on a weekend on stuff that they're dreaming about. So I really try to help people say, what is it you want out of this life? Let me see if I can't help you, introduce you to some people, help build that bridge for you to walk across so you don't have to go and struggle like so many people, including myself, have done to get there. Instead, let's bridge the gap, take you from the possibility, right, to make you to get to the reality as quick as possible. So I've had a lot of people. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. I'm just interested to know, you talked about the struggle and you said people, you can say people going through that struggle, but sometimes I'm a believer that sometimes you have to go through those struggles to find the answers that get you to where you need to get to.
Yeah.
Would you say that's been true for you on your journey? Those struggles that you've been through have led you to where you are?
100%. I mean, I'm on the edge of committing suicide and I'm writing my suicide note. And I receive a phone call and a knock on my door that changed and saved my life, got me to where I'm at today because he told me my life didn't have meaning and purpose because he knew me and he saw me on my path. And he goes, what you're doing right now doesn't have meaning and purpose. But I know you deep down inside, Tony, you have a huge passion for helping people. Like, we need to change something. Your methodology is wrong. Your thought process, your behaviors are wrong, whatever it may be. And it took me a couple months, but I was able to dust myself off. And then my mom really ideally, my first coach, my first mentor, the person who really showed me the way, because, my parents divorced when I was 3 months old. So I had really messed up thinking. I had thinking like, I wanted to be like my father. My father was the business owner, always hustling, always working, always away from the house. He made his first millions and then he lost it. Then he made his next million and lost it. So that was my coach. That was my mentor. That was the person that I wanted to be like. So I started emanating that. And then I ended up going through that same process and that struggle. And that ultimately led me to the place of wanting to take my life, because I thought my life was over. And instead, it was really, my life was just beginning. And I just had to go through that, like as you were talking, like the struggle. Now, when I'm talking about struggle, what people are facing at work and their relationships and issues, I'm not talking about leaving them in the mess. I'm talking about helping them through it. Like, I think we all need people to be there, not necessarily to push us over the wall and get us to the other side, but to say, hey, you know what? I've been there too. It's okay. Like, there's ways we can get through this. Like, there's better opportunities than what you're going through right now. And let's just be wise and think about what could that be? How could we talk that out? And I think that's really where people need help and we don't have it. I take people back to when you were a young lad in school, elementary, grade school, whatever. You used to raise your hand and ask for help. We just don't do that in our society anymore, at least here, not in the States. You don't see a lot of people raising their hand and saying, I need help. And, if you go back to, for what we call, high school, 11th and 12th grade, that would be something that you'd be laughed at if you raised your hand. You'd be like, you have a problem? You have a question? You haven't figured this thing out? Oh, Tony, you didn't talk until you're 4 and you still don't know the answer to this question? Like you had all this special coaching. So we get embarrassed. And then I think that really plays into our society today where we don't ask. And I tell people, just because you don't ask, you don't know. I think it's the opposite. I said, asking is a sign of greatness, not a sign of weakness. And so ask today for what you want, need help with, and how to get there. And that is supporting people to show them through ups and downs and how life can just beat you up. I mean, you can't turn on the news and not be depressed some days. I mean, it is so horrible. So if we know that our number one thing that we're going to face in the next 10 to 15 years is depression and what people struggle with, I want to be the light that shines light into dark spots and help people to see that there is a better way out.
Yeah, great stuff. Great stuff. I'm gonna coin that quote. I tell you what, asking is a sign of greatness, not weakness. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm interested to know. I mean, people would hear your story now and go, or if they just saw the end of your race, go, "Wow, this guy's really successful." But of course, it's been a long-term journey where there's been lots of ups and downs. And I believe every entrepreneur goes through the same thing. How has your mindset changed as you've gone from being successful then to these hits where you've had things change in the economy and your business has almost gone broke, and then you've gone through alcoholism, thinking about suicide, then back to building a business that in the last year has doubled. Tell me a bit about that. What's this roller coaster like for your brain?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of what this has been for me, in America, baseball's big, right? So I'm just a big hitter. I just always swinging. I'm never going to stop swinging. And, the pitcher's going to have his days and you're going to have your days. And you just got to stay in the batter's box and keep swinging. And I mean, it's like if you're a runner on a track and there's hurdles, man, some days you're going to trip over them and some days you're going to glide over them. If you're on a basketball court shooting, some days the three's going to go in and some days it's not. If you're on a golf course, some days you're going to make a hole in one and some days you're going to be in the mud or, off into the water. And I just have that focus, that mindset, that mentality today. And I think it goes back to what my mom always told me. Son, don't quit no matter how bad it gets. Just keep moving forward, keep pushing. It's going to get better. You have greatness inside of you, and so does everybody around you. And so just keep working hard. You'll get yours if you just keep doing you. And that means just keep swinging. Some days life throws you a curveball, and one day it's going to throw you a fastball. And when you're ready, you know how to swing. You'll hit it out of the park. And that's one of the things that I stay ultra positive. I have some framework in the morning when I wake up. I get into a journaling routine. I have a time where I spend in reflection. I work on staying positive and gratitude. I really spend my time lifting up and helping others. Service to me is the most important thing I've got in my life. Gandhi and his message, be the change you wish to see in this world. It starts with me. It doesn't start with you. If I can get my attitude right, then I can go affect change in the world. And by being the light, once again, people don't have to be afraid. And they'll say, hey, man, that guy's doing something great. Whatever that guy's doing, I want to learn more. And so that's how people follow you. That's how you build your tribe. That's how people want to come and work for your organization in year 16, where I think we're just getting started. More and more people are coming on board because they understand and they see like we're up to something big. It's not about shipping products. It's about helping people to change their life. If I can change people's lives and help them to see that there's greatness in them, man, the world's going to be a much better place. So mindset for me is everything. It unlocks all the doors to everything that I have today because, you know what, in the moment's notice, like I said, turn on the news, watch television, whatever it may be, you know, the world is a scary place at times. And so I don't let that stuff affect me. I just keep doing my thing. When it's my time, and I keep pushing forward, but never stop swinging.
Yeah, great. Some great tips here. I tell you what, there's so many people that I know will resonate with that. It's the fact, and I love the way you put it so simply. You know, no matter what sport you play, everyone can relate to that. You know, one of the things that you know, you've spoken about is you sound like you're fairly involved. You're in the trenches. You're walking side by side by your team, and there's a lot of business owners trying to build a business that doesn't rely on them, that they don't have to be in. You know, are you a believer that for a business to truly succeed, thrive, and survive, you have to be involved?
Oh, yeah. I mean, so I got a good buddy of mine. I'm going to give him a shout out. Jeff J. Hunter. He runs a company who basically outsources and helps companies to outsource people to his virtual, assistants in the Philippines. Like that's his business. And he's got a coin phrase, the 90-10 life is what he's working on, right? So he wants to basically get rid of 90% so he can live the 10%, which is the sweet spot. So in reality, he wants to become fully alive. Right. And so I said to myself, because I'm working on outsourcing certain pieces, like I don't even look at email. I don't have email on my phone. I have to actually be on a laptop to check my email. If you call my phone, it goes to voicemail. My voicemail's full. Best way to communicate with me is to send me a text. If you want to set a meeting, you talk to my assistant. But I'm there behind the scenes illustrating and actually executing on this master plan. See, we have something that I think our society struggles with today. If you're an entrepreneur, you have bright, shiny distractions all around you. And I said, what would be the easiest form of communication? Well, we all have a mobile phone. We never leave without it. So if it's text message, Slack, Skype, Instant Messenger, Facebook, Instagram, whatever that may be, there's a way. And so I'm teaching the people in my life how to get a hold of me. Send me a text. And so I believe a business owner has to stay in the trenches, has to be communicating effectively with his team. I will never be to the place where I'm not in the trenches with my team, because that's where I feel most alive. Because if that's the way I stay connected to the team, so I understand where we're going. My team is my pulse. I have the vision, right? And now I'm finding people who line up with that vision, who line up with my methodology, who line up with my other business partners' philosophies. We team up and we go to work. So life throws you a lot of curveballs. Once again, just never stop swinging. That means that you need on a baseball team, you need players in different positions. You can't win by yourself. And so I've come to the conclusion that I need the people in my life to be there, to be on this journey with me. And so that's why I have a coordinator. That's why I have somebody to take all my podcast shows and produce them and get them out to the world for me. So yeah, you need people today. For me, doesn't matter how much money I can make. I'm not ready to chalk this up and going, hey, I'm good, wipe my hands. I don't need to go to the office tomorrow. I would be bored. Like it wouldn't work for this guy. Maybe some other entrepreneur, that's the dream, that's the lifestyle. I've been able to travel to Europe from Colorado 6 times over the last 3 years. It's not like I'm not seeing the world and going and having a great time. So, man, you gotta build a team. But I have a very simple vision, right? You got to put something really, really big in front of you and keep working on it every single day. Even when you get it, set something bigger and put it in front of you and keep working on getting there. My dream is that one day I'm going to be able to retire everybody who's working for me. Like it's a very big dream. Like I want to literally get everybody to cash out and go live the life that they always dreamed, but they didn't know how they were going to get there. Well, they helped me support and help me achieve my dreams.
Nice. Now, you mentioned before you had some rituals or some things that you did every day in the mornings. You journaled, and I'm always interested to hear from entrepreneurs what they do. Can you maybe run us through a typical day for you? How does it start out, and then how does it end up?
Sure. Yeah. No, I'll tell you. So I have called the Living Fulfilled Day worksheet. If you got a piece of paper, grab it. It's really, really simple. It's called the brain dump exercise, Z through A. So what you're going to do is you're going to literally wake up in the morning and you're going to take a piece of paper and you're going to list everything that you did backwards. Cognitive function comes into play. I lost my dad to Alzheimer's and dementia. So it's something I do every single day because my day's never the same. So you're going to list, if you go to bed at 11 o'clock and you woke up earlier that day at 5, list everything backwards. You're going to start to see some holes in your day where you thought you had some things to do, but you didn't get to do it. You're like, hey, I need to be mindful of my time. Then right after that, I get into 3 things that I'm grateful for. 3 things then that are non-negotiable that I need to work on. They're the things that I know I need to work on today to get done. And then 1 habit, good or bad, that I'm aware of. Maybe like, hey, Tony, you haven't been eating as great as you should. Maybe you need to get to the gym today. So I put that, hey, you need to get in a workout. And then one of the other things that's really, really big in my life is a person of impact, somebody who's impacted my life. Maybe it was my sister and I haven't really been talking to her recent. I just want to call her today and say, hey, I've been thinking about you a lot lately, and I just want to let you know you were there through all the darkness, all the shadows. Thank you. You were a person of impact. Or maybe it's just somebody that I need to send a text to and say, hey, I was thinking about you. So that's super important. I do that every single day. That's a great way for me to get my day started. Because I'm in recovery, I attend some meetings weekly. I talk to my sponsor on a daily basis. So I leave the house making phone calls on my drive into the office. I do the same thing every single day of the week that I go to the office, which is I wear my specific, hat and my black shirt and my jeans and my white shoes. It's my routine. It's my outfit. I know when I put it on, I'm in the mindset I'm going to go to the office and we're going to do work together. I get Starbucks on my drive. I enjoy a cup of coffee. I love seeing smiling faces and people in front of me and behind me. I buy them a cup of coffee, whatever that may be. It gets me in that gratitude mindset, right? Because everything that I have is a gift. I've worked hard for it, but people have helped me along the way to get where I'm at. I go to work with a set schedule, so I never add anything new to my schedule. My schedule is set from the previous day. So when I walk in the morning, my coordinator has had my entire day, all my shows, if I'm doing podcast interviews or I'm being a guest on a show like this, I know all the meetings that I need to go to. There's no surprises. And if something comes up, it only can get on my schedule by me. I'm out of the office by 4:35. I'm heading home. Get a chance to be home with my kids whenever I'm in town. My goal is family has to come at the very top of your chart. You can't put them as a 3rd or 4th. So work really, really hard on making your family part of your foundation, your structure, because I was nothing without my wife. So my wife and I get to spend a lot of quality time together. I didn't have any kids before my wife. And so my wife and I are year 19 of a marriage. And we work really, really hard on supporting each other. She has her dreams, I have mine, but we line up really well on where we're going. And, I try to get to bed by 11:30, 12. I sleep about 5.5 hours a night. I have since I was 18 years old. And my number one thing, man, is faith. I have a big belief system. I have a huge just gratitude and a big caring, giving heart. So whenever I can be of service, calling a friend, being a friend, going to my neighbors, whatever it is, anybody needs something, that's how I know that I'm doing all right today. And that comes from a lot of work around addiction and everything, that I have a positive mindset. I'm going to be okay. When my mindset goes negative, I need to shift from being in my head to get into my heart as quick as I possibly can into another person's heart, because that's where I know I can get out of my head. My head tells me a whole bunch of things. So if I keep a routine that's pretty straightforward of service, I'm never going to go wrong.
Nice. Always good to hear, what somebody goes through in their day that runs a large company like yourself, because I think it's easy to think maybe you just sit back all day in a boardroom, but it's not what happens.
No, not at all. I mean, I had a couple different podcast interviews today. I was talking to a lot of just interesting marketers. I was CPA, I was at an accounting firm today. What I love about what I get to do is that I get tons of opportunities each day to really give myself time to work with specific people in the company. We have a pool table. We'll be shooting pool with one of my sales coordinators. We'll talk life, business, and we get a chance to connect. I'm still working. He's still working. That's my break, right? That's my way of spending some quality one-on-one time. If it's playing basketball with guys, we'll go after work or before work to shoot hoops, whatever it is. That's another way that I've been able to build really dynamic relationships, is you got to get down to people's level. You got to get down to where they're in their sweet spot. You don't want them always climbing up to where they think they need to be with you. I want to climb down and be with them and then help build them up so that they can see for themselves the opportunity, which is anything is available to them if they would change their mindset. The mindset is the number one thing, man. It's the number one thing people should be working on more than anything else, is working on yourself. What books are you reading? What seminars are you attending? What online courses are you watching? Are you watching YouTube videos from great authors and wonderful public speakers? Are you improving your craft? Or are you waiting for your craft to improve itself? And I don't spend any time other than sports. I'm a really big NBA fan of the Golden State Warriors. So I'm always watching sports when it's that time of year. Crunch time, it's playoff time, right? That's what I love about business, crunch time. I'm not watching all 60 or 72 games prior to playoffs. I'm watching the playoffs because I know that at that time they're focused on one thing, the championship. And so that's where you'll catch me maybe on an evening time watching a little bit of sports, but I'm not watching TV. I don't have time for it. I'd rather read a book. I'd rather talk to my wife. I'd rather attend a son's lacrosse game, whatever it may be. That's where I'm going to find myself. So my routine, pretty straight, very simple. I'm duplicatable. I show people all the time. Show me a schedule, show me a plan. You'll show me somebody who knows where he's going. If you look at somebody's calendar and they don't have anything planned for the next day, they're talking and they're not doing. And I'm not a doer in the sense of, oh, I'm just going to talk about it. I'm going to show you. And then you're going to go, wow, how did you get there? I'm like, come sit on my hip, like we were talking about a few minutes ago. And I'll show you what work looks like. When no one's watching, I'll be working harder than anybody else.
Yeah, good stuff. Now, you mentioned, last May you shipped 80,000 orders out. This May you're going to do 200,000. What has attributed to that? Is that better marketing? Is that a better sales team? Tell us a bit about how you've got that growth going on.
Yeah, it's all teamwork, man. So I wish I could take credit. It's not fair. I have an amazing team of account managers and SDRs, which is, sales development reps who are on the phone, really getting the right people into our business. I've got my good friend Josh closing deals, helping to close deals and tee them up for me. So I'm the creator of opportunities. My job is to go and find leads and new people and put them into our environment, our ecosystem. They do an amazing job. See, for me, it's all about building those relationships. So I built real relationships with them. They see what they need to do to be successful is build real relationships with their customers and their clients and not just try to sell them more. Anybody doesn't need more stuff. They need to know that people care. At the end of the day, it's going to help them get to where they want to go, because every person on any business, they're working for a reason. They have some dream. So I keep finding out what my team members' dreams are, and I keep helping them to do that. So all of our success comes down to really spending time building real relationships, then helping them to say, hey, you know what, I can help you today. And people are passionate about coming to work. It's exciting. I mean, tomorrow we're doing a Hawaiian pizza party. It's not even our week to do food. We're just going to throw a big giant pizza party. Somebody's going to buy Lay's, and we're going to have pizza and have drinks and just have a fun day to celebrate just how awesome the team's been doing. So I guess one of my entrepreneurial tips would be, make sure you love up on your team more than you've probably been doing, because you can always do more. And it goes a long ways when you sit next to them and just say, thanks for doing a great job, because you can see what it does. It boosts people's morale. When no one's watching, they're like, I like my job. I like what I'm doing. I'm spending less time on social media. I'm spending more time working on building relationships with customers. And you start to get to know your customers. So for us, I think our success comes down to knowing what we do really, really well, knowing how we help our customers get to their next goal or their next level in life, and then supporting our team to be able to go out there and to do their job without me sitting by their side, or Doug or Gil, and really empowering people. I think that's the key, is you empower people. And when you empower people, man, you bring change into an organization. People actually feel like, you know what, I was put on this earth to do this. And they feel like they buy into that belief system of knowing where the company's going and saying, I'm a part of something that's much bigger than me.
Yeah, awesome. Now, if you had the chance to go back and start all over again, Tony, is there anything that you would do different?
Anything I would do different to go back and do it all over again? No, you know what? I'd have to tell you. I mean, I've been on the internet since 1996. I was a radio air personality, banging on a keyboard, an old Mac, and just trying to figure out this thing called the internet, CompuServe, Earthlink, Prodigy, AOL. Before then, there was a way to get onto the internet. It was a baud modem. I remember. No, man, I would take all of the life lessons that I've been given and know, hey, you know what? I know how to get faster to success. today. So no, I'm very appreciative of knowing everything that I've gone through. Now, the one thing that I wish I would have done differently is how I managed my relationships during the darkness of my life. That's probably the only thing that I'd go back and wish I'd changed. However, it had to happen to get us to where we're at today, which is solidarity, and we're working on the same common goal.
Great answer. Mate, well, we're just about out of time, and you've got me fired up. I can't imagine how the listeners are going there. Be fired up as well. Where can we find out more information?
Yeah, two main places. You can catch my podcast show. It's TonyGShow.com, weekly episodes. I do one on Monday, which is me interviewing like Ben, for example. And then on Thursday, it's called Raw and Uncut. It's just where I cut loose on a specific topic for 2 to 5 minutes and give you some tactical advice where you can implement. My other business is just shipoffers.com. You can hit me up at TONY@shipoffers.com, and happy to help you in any way I can.
Great stuff. And if you're on the treadmill driving the car and you can't write those down, it's all good. We'll put those into the show notes for you, so you can grab those at businessbrainfood.com.au. This is episode 136. So all those links will be in the show notes, so you can get a hold of Tony and go and check out what he's doing, building an amazing business. Anyone who's walked down the path of building an 8-figure business, in my books, is an entrepreneur worth listening to and following. Now, Tony, there's only one thing left to do, my friend, and that is the 60-second scramble. Are you ready for that?
Oh, my gosh. Let's go for it. I'm ready.
All right, the clock is starting. Do you have a hidden talent?
Yes, voices.
Oh, okay. Hang on. I've got to stop the clock. What voices can you do?
Well, I can do a lot of different voices, but you tell me what you would like, and I'll take you down it. Strong with the force you are. Yes, for 800 years of suffering I have. Yeah, so it doesn't really matter when I'm around people and there's a game to play. If there's a voice needed, that's the person that I want to be, from an Indian voice to whatever it may be. However, I can add a little humor. I'm always playing. My favorite thing always been, like, as the clock has stopped, is I really love listening. My hidden talent too is listening for voices. I can tell you actors. That's my favorite. Second part of that deal is when I'm listening to a movie, I'm elbowing my wife the entire time. I'm like, that's Martin Brando. Did you hear that was Harrison Ford? Did you hear that was Ice Cube? Did you get that? And she's like, shh, I'm watching the movie. I'm like, no, but I'm so excited. Like, did you hear that guy? And I'm not watching any, what's coming out, who's going to be in the movie. That's the thing that I love. I think that's part of my radio background, is you just listen a lot to a lot of interviews, and you just get really good at who people are. And so that's my other talent, is just I can identify actors and actresses really, really easy.
Love it. Well, thanks for putting that voice on too. We've always...
It's okay. Don't worry about it. I'm happy to help you any way I can, my friend.
So.
I think it would be amazing to be at a party with you. Let's restart the clock. What's your biggest addiction?
Life.
Great stuff. Your favorite drink?
San Pellegrino sparkling water.
Best way to tune out and relax?
Put me on the beach in Positano, Italy.
Number one tip for being more efficient?
Be your word.
What's the strangest thing you've ever eaten?
Oh my gosh. I'm trying to think of the top name without ruining the show. Oh my gosh. I've had, I'm going to be at loss for words. They're something balls. They're testicles. I've had them in California at McClintock's. It's a steakhouse.
Nice.
They served them one time. Oh my gosh. I almost died and fell off the chair. And I go, this is horrible. And I spit them out. So I'm like trying to remember what they're called. Rocky Mountain oysters. There you go.
Oh, okay. See, that's interesting. And your favorite book?
My favorite book is right now The Power of The Habit. So it's the Why You Do What You Do in Business and Life by Charles Duhigg. That's my favorite book this time. I can read it anytime and get so many tidbits on kind of habits, addiction, and mindset.
Sensational. Well, mate, I can't thank you enough for coming on the Business Brain Fit podcast. I've got a lot out of it, so I can, it's undoubted that the listeners definitely got a lot out of it. Once again, thanks for sharing your journey with us and your passion with us. It's much appreciated.
Well, I got to say thank you. You did an amazing job trying to harness this stuff over here on this guy's world. I usually shoot from the hip. You asked a lot of great questions. I hope I served your audience. And thank you, Ben, for allowing me to be a guest on your show today.
Cheers, mate.
Business Brain Food.
Well, it'd be fair to say it's always good when somebody like Tony comes on the show and shares their experience. I'm sure you would have got a lot out of that. I did. I was very inspired by the time that interview was over. As I quite often say, I do these selfishly for myself. I get to chat to these amazing people and ask them anything I like, and you get to eavesdrop, basically, which is pretty cool. So, yeah, if you do want to find out more, you can go to shipoffers.com. We'll have all the links in the show notes anyway. Businessbrainfood.com.au. Go to BBF136. That's episode 136. And if you go to that brand new website, by the way, businessbrainfood.com.au, well, it's brand new. It's been up for a few months. You'll see that we've got a brand new podcast player there that makes it easy for you to go through every single episode, all the links in each of the episode, so you can make sure that you never ever miss out on finding a link or finding out the show notes and being able to read a bit about who it was that I interviewed in that show, and make sure you take advantage of any special offers if the guests make a special offer. So that's businessbrainfood.com.au. All right, well, that's pretty much it for this week's podcast. Once again, thanks for tuning in. A reminder, as I said at the top of the show, if you're not in the Business Brain Food Facebook group, please join. Come in, have a chat with us. We're having a good old time in there talking all things business, and you, my friend, are missing out. Hopefully you've enjoyed that show today. I look forward to next week's show. Until next time, have a very profitable day. Cheerio.
You can fly higher than the sky, shine brighter than the stars. You can have all you ever wanted.
The Business Brain Food Podcast is brought to you by MaxMyProfit.com.au.